What's up, everybody? It's LockBoy Stunna with LockBoy Cinema, and today I'm giving you a tutorial on how to edit in Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, a lot of people been asking me, they've been like, hey, Stunna, what editing program you use? Hey, Stunna, can you teach me how to edit? Or, hey, Stunna, I like your work. Can you show me how to edit? So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and make a tutorial using Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, a little about me, I shoot music videos, I shoot commercials, films, a little bit of everything in between. So, this tutorial is gonna be for beginners. It's not gonna be like as in-depth as some of my future tutorials, but this right here is just gonna show you how to import footage, how to drop into the timeline, slap some color on it, export that thing up out of there, and that's it. So yeah, enough with the talking, let's get into it. First thing you wanna do is you wanna open Premiere Pro. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up Premiere Pro. All right, so normally when you open up Premiere Pro, it's like a welcome to Premiere Pro screen pops up. For some reason, I don't know why mine's not popping up, I don't know, but if yours is not popping up like mine is, then you go over to File, and then you just go to New, and then you go to Project. And you're gonna be on the New Project section. If your Welcome to Premiere Pro screen is popped up, then if you look to the left-hand side, it'll be a section that says New Project. You wanna click that, and then you'll be where we're at right now. So now you want to name your project. So we're gonna name this P-R-E, dog recipes, dog. P-R-E Pro 2K23 tutorial. And then we're gonna click OK. All the other settings, you can leave those the same. You don't have to change anything. Okay, so once you do that, it's gonna put you on a screen that has like 4 windows. You're gonna have your source window right here. You're gonna have your sequence window. You're gonna have your timeline window down here, and you're gonna have your project window. If for some reason you don't see this, it may be because you may be in a different tab. And if you look up here where it says editing, you wanna be in that tab. This is where you're gonna spend like 98% of your time right here. In a different tutorial, I really go more in depth of like these other tabs that you can hop into, but for right now, you just need to be in the editing tab. That's all you need to worry about. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to import some footage. Now, it's a couple of ways that you can import footage. You can click on File right here and scroll down to Import. And then you can find your folder where your footage is at. Mine just happened to be popped right up. But if yours not like popping right up, then you just go find your footage. You highlight all the clips that you want to import, and then you press Import. And then it will import down here into your project bin. Okay? Now, I'm gonna delete these right quick. You can also import footage right here. All you have to do is double click right here, and then you can import your footage the same way you just did. Highlight everything, import, boom, you right here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and let me delete that. You can also click on your media browser. And once you click on your media browser, you can just highlight the clips that you want to use. If it doesn't pop up, then you can find it by, just going to wherever your folder's at. And then you could just drag everything over into the project panel, and boom, you have all your clips here. While I'm in this panel, I guess I'll go ahead and explain a couple things. So this is your project panel, and it's pretty much like where all your clips at, right? And let's just say you have a whole bunch of different shots or different locations. You might want to go down here to New Bin and like create like a new folder to dump all your stuff in just for organizational purposes. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So if you look right here, it says media browser. This is really just where you find your footage at, basically. You know, if you have like drives hooked up or, you know, or you're just trying to import some footage, you can use media browser. Library, you know, that's for like, my bad. You know, library just for like different things, you know, sounds or whatever, you know, in your library. Info is just gonna be like the info like of the track or whatever. Like or whatever clip you have, you know, the info. Pretty much the information on that clip. Effects, of course, you know, your effects, what you want to use, whether it's audio effects, video effects, any type of effects or presets, you want to come to this tab right here. We'll get into that a little bit later. Markers, you know, you can color your markers or whatever, you know, so you can know what is what. And history is just pretty much everything that you have done since you started your session. And if you click on these double arrows, it's pretty much everything that I just went over, actually. So if you just want to like hop the project, boom, you back here. If you want to hop to effects, boom, you're right there. If you want to hop to history, boom, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, use that a lot when you want to bounce around because you can't see all the tabs right here. So if you double click that, then boom, you know, you back on your project. All right, cool. So now that we got our files inside of the project bin, we want to put it in a source window. So we want this clip right here in our source window, right? So what we do is we double click on this clip right here and it puts it in this source window. Now from this point, we want to figure out what piece of the clip we want to use to put in our timeline, like what we want to start with, right? Okay, so you go over here. Normally, like, I would play and listen to what I want to hear, right? But for tutorial purposes, we're gonna, you know, kind of bypass that a little bit. So let's just say this where I want to start at, right? Okay. So now you want to make a mark endpoint. And there's two ways you can do that. You can, I don't know what's going on in my throat, man. Okay, so you can mark in right here where you see this little marker right here, or you can press I. I like to get used to using shortcuts, so I would just, you know, get it in my head to use I. I mean, you can come up here and click on the mark in or whatever, and you see how I got like the I in parentheses. Yeah, you can press that, but I would say get used to using shortcuts and marking your endpoint. You just press I and it creates the endpoint. Then you go to find a stopping point, like an end point, right? And let's just say we want to end right here. You can either press right here or you can mark out by pressing the letter O. And boom, it creates a mark in, mark out point. If you want to go to your mark in point, you can go right here where it says go to end, and boom, you're at the front. Or if you go over here to go to out, boom, you at the end of the clip. And you know, these right here is just like moving back like frame by frame, right? And you can move forward frame by frame. And then of course, you know, this is the play button, right? Okay, so now that you got your clip highlighted, your mark, your in point and out point, you want to put it into your timeline. So what you could do is just go to the center of the clip, left click, and you can drag it over here and drop it into your timeline, and boom, it pops right there in your timeline, right? Okay, let me Command Z. Command Z, by the way, deletes what you just did, right? So once you come back up here to the source window, once you click on that to highlight the source window, you can also go to Insert. And if you click in Insert, then it puts it right here in the timeline also. So those are two ways that you can insert your footage into the timeline. Also, let me Command Z to delete that. Also, right here where it says drag video only, if I left click that and drag it into the timeline and drop it, as you can see, it has no audio. It's just video only. Now that comes in handy, like let's just say you're shooting a music video or something like that where you already have the sound, you just need visuals, right? So that's when you would drag that like that. Okay. And also, you could do the same thing for audio. So if I left click and drag audio into the timeline and drop it, you see it doesn't have any video, it just has the audio. And you know, that could come in handy where you have visuals, but you just need some audio. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you would do that. But for this tutorial, we want the sound, so we could just click insert and drop it into the timeline. Okay, so now that we have our first clip, we want to get her reaction, right? So we want to click on this clip. So boom, she pops up. Now normally, like I said, we would scroll and see what part we want to use, but for tutorial purposes, I'm gonna start right here. Now we want to mark in. What did I say that you press the shortcut to mark in? Right, you press I. So once you press I to mark in, you play it, see what you want to stop it at. Let's just say I want to stop right here. Then I would mark out by pressing O. And then you want to insert and drop it in the timeline. Uh-oh. Now, you see how it dropped it at the front of the timeline? It's because my marker right here was set at the front. So let me hit Command Z to delete that. You always want to have your mark, where your marker is set at, that's where it's going to drop the clip at. So you want to put that behind the clip. So that way when you press it, it comes after. You know what I'm saying? You see how they just pop in like that? Also, you can just left click, drop it in, and snap it to the first one, and boom, you got it just like that. Okay, so now we got that clip. We got the close-up clip. Now, let's just say we want to just use that, right? You can just go to your end of your clip, left click, and drag back. Now, also note, let me Command Z. Note, if I didn't have this snapping timeline on, and when I drag it back, it's not gonna lock on this. You see what this marker at? Like, it's not locking to it. So you wanna make sure that your snapping timeline is on, so that way when you left click and drag back, it locks to the marker, right? Okay. So you got your two clips. Now you want to get the reaction of her. So boom, you click on her, you do what you just did. You know, you mark in, because I want to start here. Let's just say I want to end it right here, right? So my marker's already set, so if I put insert, then it's going to drop it into the timeline, right? Okay, so now you got her, both of them talking, and then it goes to just her in a red coat, and then it goes to the reaction shot of the other female answering her. And let's just say we want to show them both again on screen. So do what you just did, right? Left, mark in, mark out. And then you just insert, and boom. Now when you play it back, you have both of them in the shot, then it cuts to the girl with the red coat on, and then it cuts to the lady talking to her, and then it comes back to both of them. So boom, now you got it's starting to look like something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get down here. Okay, I'm gonna explain a couple things first. Right here, where you see like V1, A1, A2, A3, these are your video and audio tracks. If it's nothing on those tracks, you don't necessarily have to have them highlighted. Because if you do have something, like let's just say I have something on V2 or V3, but I don't have it highlighted, when I export, it's not gonna export with that. So whatever tracks that, whatever lines or tracks or audio, whatever, wherever you have footage and audio on, you wanna make sure that you have those selected. If you don't have any, then you don't have to worry about that. Over here is some of the tools. I'm not really gonna go into the tools right now. The only ones that I'm really gonna show you is the select tool. You know, you could click this or you could press V. And I'm gonna show you the razor tool, which you can either click this or C. And like I said, select tool is V, razor tool is C. See how they pop up? If you got the razor tool, you can just click, 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 click. And you know, it cuts it, right? Select tool, press V, boom, it selects your footage. That's all I'm gonna get into right now as far as that goes, right? Okay, now we got, let's just say we got our clips. These are what we wanna use. Now we wanna add some color to them. So what you wanna do is you wanna go down here to where it says new item. You wanna click on that and then you wanna click on adjustment layer. Now when you click on adjustment layer, your size of your composition is gonna pop up right here. This is the size of the composition. Then you can press OK. It's gonna create an adjustment layer right here in your project bin. And all you have to do is drag the adjustment layer onto your timeline. And then you can just stretch it out to the length of your clips. Now you notice when I had said that the adjustment layer was the same size as the composition. If you want to know what size your composition is, you go up here to sequence and then you click on sequence settings. When you go to sequence settings, it's going to have the size of your sequence. It's going to have your frame sizes. It's going to have the pixel ratio, you know, your workspace, color, you know, your audio stuff. You know, it's going to have all that right there. And if for some reason that it's not, you want to have it where it match your footage. If it doesn't match your footage, you could click on sequence and go to sequence settings and then change it to match your footage, right? And then you click OK. And another thing, like up here in the source window, if you go over here and you click on these double arrows right here and you come down to metadata, metadata is going to tell you, it's going to give you the information for your clips, right? Like it's going to tell you like, hey, this is a movie clip. This was shot with Blackmagic Raw. You know, the frame rate is 24 frames per second. You know, it's going to tell the duration of the clips, the audio. You know what I'm saying? It's going to all that. So you go off of that, like right here, like I know there's 24 frames, right? Right here for video info, I know that it's 6144 by 2560. So that's the size of the clip. So when I click over here, let me click back, and then I go to sequence settings, I know that this needs to be 6144 by 2560, and I know that this needs to be 24 frames per second. That's how you figure that out. Okay, so now you want to color correct your clips a little bit. I put an adjustment layer down. You can put them on the individual clips, but they were in the same location on all these shots. Did nothing change at all. The lighting, nothing changed. So I would rather put an adjustment layer on all the clips instead of putting them on each individually clip. Right? Make sense? Okay. So if you come over here to Lumetric Color, and if you don't see Lumetric Color, you could go to Windows and go to Lumetric Color and then check it, right? To put it on the window. So you come over here. Let me close all these right quick. Okay. So when you come over here, why is this open? What is... Okay. So when you come over here to Lumetri Color, it's gonna have like a couple sections: basic, correction, creative, curves, color wheels and match, HSL, secondary, and vignette. Now, when you're color correcting and color grading, you wanna go in order of these steps. It's kind of like a cheat code. You wanna do your basic correction first, then go to your creative part where you can drop a LUT onto there if you have any, and then you want to go to your curves and so far. So we'll start at like basic correction, right? You know, input LUT, you know, well, first, like with my Blackmagic Raw clips, what I like to do is I like to go into them actually. Cause like with Blackmagic Raw, and this only like for Blackmagic camera users, when you film in Blackmagic Raw, you have a chance to, let's just say you don't dial in your settings right while you're filming, you can actually go and change your parameters to get them how you want to get them. It's only for Blackmagic though, Blackmagic Raw. It's not for any other camera. So I would do right here is, you know, just change the clip on the color science Gen 4. I'm gonna use it at that. I changed the color space to Rec 709 highlights. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Is it already? Let me get this like this for all those clips right quick. Normally I would do this before, you know, I start like messing with the colors and stuff like that. Okay, so all those are good. So I come back over to the adjustment layer. I'm not gonna put an input LUT on there. I'm just gonna go down to white balance and let's just say I click on the dropper and then boom, white balance that to get a good white balance. Tones, come down to tones and I can change them. Okay, well, first, before I even start, you know what I'm saying, before I get too deep, I want to come over here and I want to click on Lumetri Scopes. Okay, so I can see what I'm doing, right? So, you know, you see how your scopes and stuff moving? Okay, boom. So, you know, I just want to, you know, mess with them a little bit, fine tune. You know, also, if you have LUTs or whatever, you could just like drop a LUT or something on there, you know, but we want to show you how to color grade so you don't have to do that. Because a lot of times, you know, you can get it where it looks better than the LUT, actually, you know, if you just take the time to get it right. So let's just say that we want our settings right there. I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I can make a whole video, you know, just off of that. So after that, I go to creative and let me see. Let me just drop a LUT on there, you know, or whatever. Let me see what I want to use. I could use that. Okay, so boom, I dropped that on there. So next I will come down to curves and then I would just, you know, make my curves. And all curves is just messing with like the highlights and the shadows and stuff like that. So let's just see. Oh yeah, also, let me go back up to creative. If you drop a LUT on there after you do that, you want to drop that down to like 50% so it looks kind of natural and not like over contrasted or fake looking, right? So you come down to curves, you make your curves, okay. Then you come down to your hue versus hue in Luma. Cheat code, if you are a person of color, you know, you wanna deal with the reds and the yellows. You wanna be like, right, where this line at, you know, you don't wanna be here, you don't wanna be here, you wanna be here. So we would just click on, make me a mark for the red, yellow, make me a mark for the red, yellow. Now when I move it, see how it's starting, like it start adding more yellow to it? Or if I went here, you see how it start adding more red to it? So, mess with it. Just kind of mess with it a little bit. Okay. And then the color wheels, you know, of course, you can adjust your shadows, stuff like that. We'll adjust this. And also, you look over here, you don't want this hitting 100 and you don't want this hitting 0. Okay. So we got that. And I think we're pretty good. Now, if you was to like click on this, you can see the difference before and the after. You see how like it looked more natural? Boom, and that's how you know you making something. So now you got your stuff color corrected. You want to export it. And you want to come down here. See how you got the adjustment layer? Remember what I told you earlier about V2 not being selected? Whatever clips you have, you want to make sure that these are selected over here. So you want to left click and click on V2. Okay, so now you're at the front of the clip. You want to make an input, mark in. And then you want to go to the end of the clip and then you want to mark out. I like to like go to like, I see black. So that way it'll play like all the way to the black and not like if you drop it right here, then it's going to stop right here. So you just want to like, you know, just go out to the black, mark out. So boom, now you have this and this, all this selected. So now you want to export it. Come up to File. You click on Export Media and you click on Export Media. Now, export settings, I'll get into that in a whole nother video because it is multiple codecs and stuff that you can use depending on what you're doing, depending on where it's going, you know, as far as like what to use. So right now, we're just gonna use H.264, right? So we click on that and then we'll just have it match source. Name it. So we'll say tutorial pre-pro 2K23. Okay. And then you come down here and pretty much you want your output to match your source pretty much. So everything will flow perfectly. So just, you know, once you got that, you just double checking at this point, make sure everything is everything. You want to click that because you want to render at maximum depth. And then you scroll down to software encoding. That's just the performance right here. You can either like, that is depending on your graphic card. Sometimes you may be able to use hardware encoding. But if not, just leave it on software encoding. Profile, I like to change my profile from main to high. You know, I scroll down. Everything looks good, looks good, looks good. Right here, bitrate encoding, VPR1 pass, VBR2 pass, and CBR. I put it on 1 pass. You can do 2 pass, but to be honest, I really don't see the difference between doing 1 pass and 2 pass. So I like to use VBR 1 pass. For training purposes, we'll just put this on 10, and then we'll put this one on 10. And then once you come down here, maximum quality, use previews. And then once you have everything, you can either click on Q. And when you click on Q, it's gonna export into media encoder. Now you could do that if you want to, like, you have other stuff that you're working on your computer and you don't want to just be tied down to Premiere Pro exporting. Then you could queue it and then export it in media encoder. But for training purposes, we're just gonna do it right here and press export. So once you press export, it's gonna export. And then now we just waiting for it to export. So how you guys' day going? Like, I just got off of 7 days of work, like where we had to work like 7 days straight. And man, like, it wasn't bad, but you know, it takes up a lot of my time to the point like I be having to edit and do other things. And it, like, with me having to go to work, because you know I'm on night shift, so you know I'm graveyard shift. Like, I'm sleep during the day. By the time I get up, it's kind of like time to go in to work. So you know I don't have anything to do. So you know, 7 days is kind of like, okay, well, I'm not really getting too much of editing done. So once I'm off, you know, I'm playing catch up. So that's why you guys are late getting this tutorial. You actually supposed to got this tutorial like last week. But hey, better late than never, right? Okay, so boom, it exported. You see where it says your video was exported successfully. Boom, you come over here. Oh my, what's the name is not showing. So I'm gonna go over here to desktop. And then I'm going to go to, where there. My bad, y'all. I had like moved everything around. To, bear with me, bear with me. Okay, I'm tripping. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into Premiere and then go to export. And then I'm just gonna do it all again. PRE test. So this is where it was saved at. So I should have said that. What you wanna do is make sure you save it in the right section, right? So you will be able to find it and you won't be like me looking all over the place. So I'm gonna save it in the desktop and then click over here and I'm gonna save it in the mass folder. Don't wanna save it there? Okay. And then I'm gonna export it out. And then I'm gonna let that export out again. Yeah, my bad, y'all. I should have told y'all to do that from the start, because if you don't look at where you saving your stuff at when it's time to find it, if you have a lot of stuff on your computer like me, then yeah, it's gonna be a little hard to find it. So we're gonna let this finish up. Then we're gonna look at the footage, make sure we got what we were looking for, and then we'll be done. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's how easy it is to use Premiere. Like, I feel like y'all are confident now where y'all can open up a file and, you know, drop it into your sequence and, you know, cut it up a little bit, add some color and export. I feel like you should be confident enough to do that after this tutorial right here. Okay, so now this finishing up, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Okay, it's done. You see where your video was exported successfully. Cool. So that means when I come over here, matter of fact, let me just hide Premiere right quick. Remember we saved it in our mass folder. So then we just come down here to pre-test, double click on that, let me highlight that. This the footage. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, it cut to the scene, it's gonna cut to the other chick, right? And then it's gonna go back to both of them. And boom, that's your clip. It went all the way through, it's gonna hit the black, and that's it. Okay, boom, so that was the tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure y'all tap that subscribe and drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all want me to touch on next. You know what I'm saying? If you want me to keep it going or whatever, let me know what's up, man. It's your boy LockBoy Stunna. I'm signing out.